Okay, so today was kind of what I'm going to have to call a bittersweet day. Part of me says to just move on and not even talk about it. But I just did a review on these, I didn't do a review. I got a couple of WOOX stocks in and I was so excited to see them, and they looked good. I opened them up and they felt good and everything felt good. And my last video segment, I did an unboxing. I did a review. And I know better. I should have never done it, but I did. And so today has been successes and failures. I don't know why I used the term bittersweet. It's kind of the wrong. You know, it's funny, I have a friend that his wife said something was bittersweet, and he went, "That's a girl's word. That's so stupid. You girls are..." She goes, "No, bittersweet's a real word. It's a real concept. It applies to men equally, men and women." It does not. It's a feelings word. It's a girl's word. Guys don't experience bittersweet. Guys experience good times and bad times. There's no bittersweet. Is just a concoction of you women. She said, no, I completely disagree. Bittersweet applies equally to men and women. He goes, okay, honey, tell me something that I'm going to feel is bittersweet if you're so smart. She said, well, of all your friends, you have the biggest... I won't go on from there because maybe there's kids watching, but there is such a thing as bittersweet, and I'm saying that today I had successes and failures. The first one is these WOOX stocks. I knew when I ordered them up that maybe they looked a little too good to be true. Everything that I know teaches me that when a thing seems too good to be true, the best chance is that it is. So I went ahead and videotaped myself opening these things up and talking big. Now understand, the reason this is bittersweet is because I got suckered. Al got suckered, and I'm old and I'm tight and I don't trust anybody, and I don't very often get suckered. $350 for this stock. Well, no, I guess this is the spendy one. This guy comes with the piece of bottom metal. $200 worth of bottom metal, so this one was $550 or $570 or something. And frankly, it comes with a really good piece of bottom metal. So, I'm not going to pick on the bottom metal at all, even though I don't really like this kind of bottom metal. But the stocks, I left off the last video, and that was pretty much the end of my day. But in the last couple of days, I started bolting these things together, and I was talking as how I was going to bed this and that, and I figured, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and put one together. For starters, this one's been dropped, not by me. I just saw that. I can fix that. Maybe I threw it on the floor when I found out how everything was. So anyway, I did my due diligence. I called the company, I called a couple of sales guys, I called a couple companies that carry them, and everybody assured me the same thing, that this is a billet of aluminum. Well, I got suckered, because it wasn't until I had one bolted together that I could tell that it was not. This joint right here is pretty cleverly camouflaged, or I was just too excited to notice. But that's not the sling swivel stud. This front on here, I loosened it a little to show you, but I got it on the gun. I took it out. I was going to put one of my big Thunder Boomers on here. And it felt flexible. Once the weight was there, once the gun was in, once I had it in my hands, I could tell that it wasn't all stiff like that. I had been told that these screws right here held the forend on. I had been told we had a billet of aluminum machined into this thing from end to end. I really tried to get these answers, but there were no answers forthcoming on the website. The drawings showed everything as one piece. Everybody I talked to told me the same thing. This is one machined out chunk. And when I got it, I looked at this and I said, okay, that's all there is. There are no other screws. So I missed, it's probably on the video when I go back and look. I missed this screw up here in the front. This is about as solid as an old Model 12. This is about as solid as an H&R shotgun. Al got suckered. That's held on by a little piece of crap screw, but it's way, way, way worse than that. This is a cobbled in, and I'm not going to go too far. I'm more disappointed in myself than in anything else. It's got a hardware screw in one side and a hardware screw in the other side, and it is the farthest thing. I mentioned another stock that had two plates bolted to the side, and I didn't like that. I wanted this billet assembly. Well, I'm sorry, this is the furthest thing from a billet assembly. It is a floppy, crammed together, poorly designed, and to make matters even worse, the stupid screws going from the side, they don't even have a bias to them. This thing doesn't even tighten itself together. The only reason it stayed on its perch is because it was nailed there. So I don't know what I'm going to do with these now. But I took all my big stuff out and I'm switching over. I'm just going to I'm going to have to go back to my epoxy thing. I'm going to epoxy in and epoxy over and run some tensioning suck-up screws in here, drill and tap back into it, build some gusseting along the side. I might bring this down to my buddy down the road and have him aluminum weld it. I don't know how to weld aluminum. So I'm so disappointed right now with this floppy piece of junk that I am really considering very seriously welding this and hoping I can make something useful out of it, because I would be ashamed to sell it right now. So that's the better part. I just had to follow up on my review because I touted WOOX. I spent $1,200-1,400 on them. No, it was $5 something for one and $750 or $399 for the $349 for the other one. So I'm getting carried away, but it was close to $1,000, and that hurts me to find out when I get it open that it is absolutely not what it was purported to be. But at the meantime, or as we left last time, I was getting ready to finish up some of my redneck cerakoting, and we've reached a point now where I think I've made my point. So that's the sweet part of this. I'm a little bitter about the failure of the WOOX thing, and the fact that right now the best shooting aluminum chassis systems I've got are Hogue and HS Precision, and Hogue has some anyway, I don't like the rubber, so there are just a couple of reasons why my aluminum bedding system inside the stock is working fine, but it's only adaptable to single shots. I'm taking repeater rifles and converting them to single shots. I've actually got some other stuff that I'm doing that's going to make that even cooler, and it's an unmitigated success. But it's single shot. And all the literature and all the YouTube videos and all the guys staring deeply into each other's eyes and talking about things talk about how this stock shoots so good and all that. Of course, they don't show any groups. So the stock is not only in limbo right now, but I'm going to see if I can fix the stocks. But my other stocks are coming along pretty well. I showed you before that we had some real busyness going on. Now these are actually tightened up enough that they're easy to handle and you can actually look at them. As I said, and as I was leaving my last video, you can do better than this. But I feel that the concept of redneck cerakoting in the comfort of your own home is vindicated, validated. I'm no artist, but yet these look fine. I'm happy and proud to send these down the road. This is the old left-handed. This is the left-handed project right here. These are going to look fine. My old wood one, this is the main reason. That laminated one that I got a whole series of stuff going for this. This is the wood laminated stock. I was going to recontour this whole forend, but I've got some other stuff set up for it that works really well for hunting. So I went ahead and left it alone for now, because now I am completely and totally unintimidated by this cerakoting thing. At home, I set up a garbage can. I ran a heat pumping unit into it, which was nothing more than a glorified hairdryer, a heat shrink tubing applicator. And I heated it inside up to close to 200-ish degrees. And I feel that this air dry Cerakote flashes off. And I will just say that I put on the base coat in 2 layers. The base coat underneath this is bone hard. Now it took me a couple of days. I went the proverbial couple microns thick with my spray assembly, which is working out. I'm learning the kinks and the foibles of the airless spray assembly. So this was done without air, without a bunch of cleanup, without a bunch of garbage. Basically, I have a jug of acetone and I have all of my stuff. And when I'm done with my sprayer assembly, I just disassemble it and chuck it in the jug of acetone. And it's got a big enough top on it that I can get my hand inside there with some nice latex gloves. And my stuff cleans out. So, this I wanted to leave on a good note today. I'm happy with these. This is actually a laminated wood stock, and I think it looks cool. The forend is its own thing, but what I want you to look at is the paint job. Just to understand, you can do this without spending a whole huge chunk of money. I was more careful in laying down my base coat. I actually preheated this piece of wood, and I backed off and sprayed it to a tight mist coat and stuck it in my garbage can for 20 minutes while I worked on something else, pulled it out. It was tacked off rock hard, and I gave it a second coat, like 15 or 20 minutes apart. And the base coat underneath here looks really good. I'm not going to really show you anything here because I was going to do some cool stuff, but I'm going to remill this and get it smooth and put some stuff in here. But trust me, the base coat is nice. I also had showed you how I was doing it indoors, because this was back around Christmas time and we had a snow event and it was stinking cold and I had to do some stuff inside. And so I set up a roll around. These final coats on here I did a lot easier, because see, on the wood one I coated it, I used up some dragon green color that I had and I just hosed it on there. And I touched up the 3 runs that I got, scratched them off, flattened them back out, and used it for a sealer coat. And then I went ahead and did my black over the top of that. Came out great. I mean, it looked as good as this. It's quite thin. And this, of course, is anodizing, and I can't honestly say it looks as smooth as this anodizing, but to the casual observer, it looked really good. It was a finish a lot like this right here, a nice matty finish. And this again is anodized, so it's not this tight, but you could still see all of the etchants. This has been sandblasted, and then it's been, I doubt this is cerakoted. I guess it's possible that it is, but I would guess this is anodized. With that name, you know what? This just might be cerakoted in itself in a hot situation. I'm doing the cold. I'm doing air dry, or ambient as they're now calling it. But I'm very happy with it. I'm happy with the look. I know that you can look at what I did here and say, yeah, you made it too blotchy, you used too many colors, you didn't use enough colors, your sponge is the wrong shape, I'm good with all that. I just wanted to show you what I did. Now I can put these guns together and get them back out and shooting and start some more shooting installments. I'm skipping right over this shooting because I have worked with every stock in the world, and with a forend that won't tighten up, it's not going to shoot. So I'm going to figure out how to tighten this forend up, if it's at all possible. Or, if I can't do that, I'm going to bolt some Remingtons into these and sell them as half-minute guns. Or I'll bolt some Remingtons into them and bed portions of them and chamber them up in something light enough that it's not, I mean, I can make up to a 308 size cartridge, maybe even a 30-06 shoot in a very, it doesn't flex or stress the system too much more forgiving. So I just might have to do something mellow and mild. Maybe something in a 270 WSM. That's a hot rod that doesn't kick all that bad. So, as I said in the beginning, a little bitter today, but still happy with the fact that I went down and unwrapped and pulled out all of my, where I had everything drying. I let these stocks dry for 3 or 4 days before I handled them. And in the meantime, I was hairing off and doing some other stuff here. And these are just the 2 things I wanted to cover today. So hopefully they will help somebody down the road. I will not just unequivocally endorse this stock. I'll leave it at that. I did my rant. I showed what I found. I showed what I didn't like. I'm not trying to badmouth anybody. It just is disappointing to ask all the right questions, get all the right answers, and then, upon further review, find out that I'm far away from what I wanted.